Dave, for those of you who are catching up now, Dave called us a while back about his Jehovah's Witness aunt. It was kind of telling some stories about that. So did you want to give a brief bit of context to that, Dave? And I guess you have some updates for us.
Yes, I have some closure.
Oh, great.
On June 21st, my aunt officially left Jehovah's Witness.
Really?
Hey!
No kidding.
All right. Yeah, we've got...
she reverted back to Catholicism. I mean, she's still in some sort of cult, but...
Baby steps. Okay, just baby steps here.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely a story, Dave. What's up with that? So your aunt who was super Jehovah's Witness, who you had several conversations with...
Someone told her about the 1930 mansion ordeal, about, like, the Jehovah's Witness donations going towards this huge mansion that was being built by one of the governing body members for some random reason. And she also heard about the Stay Alive Till 75 ordeal, and she's like, I think you're right. This is just a bunch of snake oil.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Wow, that's amazing. That is really cool. So you just broke down kind of the history of the Jehovah's Witness organization itself and kind of, broke down like some of the kind of shadier stuff in its past. And that actually kind of rang true to her, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Man, okay. Well, that is something to celebrate. Now, she's a Catholic now. What was her reasons to converting to Catholicism?
The reason why so basically, she was also in Catholicism before she joined Jehovah's Witness. My family has had a history of Catholicism. My grandmother was a Catholic, and she raised all, like, my father and his siblings Catholic, and eventually they all stopped being Catholic.
I know that feeling. I'm an ex-Catholic myself.
Even my aunt, one even turned a humanist because she did a lot of research. And but when my aunt had her fourth child born, there was this huge problem with them, and it was a pretty big deal. And someone introduced her into Catholicism, and she started praying, and for some reason, her child was all fixed up. Like, she found it.
Were they fixed up by medical professionals, or perhaps some prescription medication? Okay.
I'd say the medical professionals had a little more to do with it than a deity. Yeah.
Perhaps.
I remember in the last call, I asked for advice for how to come out to my parents as atheists. And, about that, I kind of, let's just say I spat it out without catching myself. And I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, my. I hope you did not get yourself into a bad situation that way.
Fortunately, there wasn't much of a negative response, but my mom was saying that she was kind of disheartened.
Well,
okay.
You can't control people's feelings on this kind of stuff.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
And listen, I'm speaking as someone who had to go through the same thing with my folks, right? It's like you can control and frame the message as much as you want, but ultimately they're going to be the ones receiving it, and their prejudices, their past experiences, their biases are going to filter in what you're trying to tell them, no matter how gently you try to bring that message to them. And it's not fair. It's not fair, but it does get better. And for most people, I should say.
I would.
Yeah.
I know why she feels disheartened.
Yeah.
Because for basically my entire life, I was raised Christian. But turns out my parents are pretty open people, even though their religious backgrounds.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Open.
And I will say this too. People ask what kind of things can I send people and stuff to show my parents and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you can send them stuff, but the most convincing thing that they can hear is from the people that they know the best. right? And I think like you are going to have a greater effect on your parents than any Matt Dillahunty video or you know, a skeptical breakdown of the Bible, Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, like, I'm sure those things can have an effect on people, but the people that influenced me the most were the ones that I developed a personal relationship with. And I think that can be said with for a lot of people. So I would keep that in mind too, Dave. If you're continuing to have these conversations, just to, you know, like, there's going to be a bit of a barrier there when talking about it, but you should never feel afraid to talk about what you honestly believe or disbelieve, and they'll make you feel afraid because, you know, honestly, they're trained to do that. That's what they're taught to do. But like, you gotta stay strong. Call into shows like this. We'll give you all the support you need, and I'm real proud of you, bud. I'm really glad that you did that because you're gonna feel better. If you don't feel better already, you will. So
one thing I will say though, if you're not in a position where you can take care of yourself, support yourself, that sort of thing, you may or may not want to think twice before saying something to people like parents.
Yeah.
If by saying something to a parent, you're going to end up out on the street, I'd say hang on a little while until you can manage a better situation. Other than that, go for it. Yeah.
I haven't been in much religious talk with parents because basically, besides my parents and one of my aunts, if I tell anyone else in my family that I'm atheist, they basically would disown me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not over atheism that it happened to me, but I know the feeling when I came out to the family.
It's basically anything but Christianity. If I came out as any other religion, they would still disown me. But they still have a tiny bit more respect to me than...
I've thought about that for myself, too, in fact. I've been like, well, if I came out as a Muslim, would they have treated me differently than if I came out as an atheist? Or if I came out as, like, a Buddhist or something, you know? I've thought about that. I don't know.
Well, one of the things that... One of the things that...
Go ahead, Diane.
Go. Oh, okay. One of the things that the person I lovingly call the female slimy bastard, the rest of the world called my mother, would say is, you know, after oh wow, you got a big story about that one. But she would say, "At least your sister has a religion."
Yeah.
You know, when I said that I wasn't. Now what got those two to disown me was coming out as trans. So I know the feeling about being disowned. But at least it happened to me later in life, and I didn't have to worry about any support issues or anything like that. I began my transition at the age of 52. So I was already out in the world and everything else.
Yeah.
It's just that they just cut me off entirely. And this is where it goes back. Had I said something when I was 10 years old or whatever the hell it was, I would have been a 10-year-old out on the street trying to fend for myself. That's why I tell people anything contentious like that, think twice before you say something. Think of your own safety, your own well-being before any ideological stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta take care of yourself first. Even though it's hard, because I know I was very bummed out when
I want to talk about something else.
Yeah, real quickly, Dave, what's up?
Throw it in there quickly.
I mean, I've already told my parents I'm atheist, and I actually already told them that I'm also a furry, but there's one thing I haven't come out about myself to them, and I think it's got to be held back for a very long time.
Please don't tell them you're a Republican. Please don't do that.
They're actually Republicans.
Of course.
Oh my.
But there's this one thing I haven't told them yet, but I identify as pansexual.
Oh.
And
okay, fine.
Yeah. Do you think at this point, that's going to be more shocking to them because they already know you're an atheist? No, so you're probably more open to other kinds of ideas and stuff. Do you think that would be any more shocking than what you've already told them about your identity? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had to come out myself as a sexual identity other than straight. So that's something I really can't relate to. I know that, the atheism stuff, that's a parallel, as I'm told, from other folks who are queer and who have come out that way. But yeah,
heterosexuals.
Right. Yeah, like that's I gotta imagine that's gotta be equally frustrating, if not more so, that you can't express a certain part of your identity. But I would, honestly, Dave, if you've already told them the atheist thing, I don't know how the pansexual thing would hurt too much more. But maybe, I don't know. I don't know your parents.
Think it hurt more if I told them I was Democratic than me being pansexual.
Maybe so.
I think.
Maybe so. Yeah, for sure. Well, Dave, I'm glad.
Don't do that while I'm slipping coffee.
I'm just glad that man, there's been some progression since last time I talked to you. I mean, changes in your life, family members changing religious identities. You've come out and stuff. It sounds like at least you're in a better place than last time, right? Can we say that much?
Yes, we like that. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, hopefully, and it probably will. It's only going to get better from here, I think. Keep fighting the fight, and if you need to call into this show for some camaraderie and advice, we'd be more than happy to help out. Keep on getting the good fight out there, and don't be afraid to be yourself. All right, Dave?
Indeed.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dave, for calling in.
Absolutely.
Seriously, thank you.
Anytime, Dave. Anytime. Well, that makes me happy. I love it when people update me on stuff that they've called me
that's
before.
a good. Yeah, I've actually had that experience with Seth Andrews. He was so happy to hear about my update when I had. This was a couple of years ago that I had called him after. And the amazing thing about that too is he actually remembered me. It was like, what the heck? Well, okay. I have to admit, I am probably one of those people that you would really like to forget, but just can't. Okay.
Why would you say that about yourself? Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm smiling, sweetie. Come on.
I don't know about that, but yeah, no. I'm glad that, because like I've been there. I've been in that situation, and it's so hard. And it was to be honest with you, so depressing not being able to come out with the identity that I have now, as a non-believer, and to break free from the molds that people have previously thought. And yeah, there's still people in my life today that like don't fully know, my story and where I'm at, and that's okay. They don't have to know. But like the people closest in your life, like that's who really matters. I mean, that's who you would want to know the most. And I totally get that. I think it's harder for people who hasn't had that struggle to really relate to that, because if you're like me before and you were like straight and Christian your whole life, it's like I like what do you mean it's hard? You can just tell me, man. But it's like, no, it's a little more than that. It's a little more of an involved process of self-reflection and really figuring out who you are first before you can let other people know. And so I'm just glad there's an update on that story. I'm just really glad about that.
That's beautiful. I love it.